Alrighty, so today's training is on setting smart and intentional goals for your business in 2022. So the reason why I think it's really important to go over this topic is because goal setting is a skill. It's not something that everybody masters. It's something that takes a lot of practice to really nail down in order to set your goals intentionally, strategically, and make sure they're effective for you and your business. It's easy to just call out a few goals at the beginning of every year and try to put them out into the universe, but to strategically plan them out and formulate them in a way that makes it easy for you to assess your progress throughout the year, that takes commitment and skill. So I'm going to go over some of the more foundational things tonight that will really walk you through how to do this in an easy way, but also in an effective way that you'll be able to repeat this process year after year. So the first thing I want to go over is SMART goals. And I'm sure everybody has heard of SMART goals. You've probably heard about them more than once, and there's a reason for that. They work. SMART goals work really, really well when you are trying to define your goals for the year. So when we're thinking about SMART goals, first we start with the S, which is now, why is it important to make sure that your goals are specific? Well, it works because the more specific your goal is, the more real it feels to you. So it's no longer a statement of, I'll use the example of losing weight. That's a lot of people have a New Year's resolution for losing weight. I'm sure I have, at some point in my life, but losing weight is not specific, right? It's not, I want to lose weight this year. How much weight do you want to lose? 10 pounds, 5 pounds, 20 pounds? So at that point, if you're going to say that that's your goal for the year, you have no specific amount that you're setting to that. So if the year will go on and you don't have that number in your head of exactly how many pounds you want to lose, the goal doesn't feel real. It's just a thought at that point. The next is you want your goal to be measurable. Now, this one, in my opinion, is one of the most important parts of making a SMART goal. So why does having a measurable goal work? Why is that important? Well, it gives you a method for tracking your progress, right? Having a measurable goal is all about being able to assess your progress throughout the year. Are you on track? Are you off track? Do you need to tweak anything? When you have a starting point and an end point in mind, you know what needs to be done in the middle, right? So keeping on that example of weight loss, if I'm 125 pounds and I want to get to 120 pounds, there's my start and end point. I have 5 pounds in the middle. I can assess all throughout the year when I drop 2 pounds, go up 1 pound, drop 4 pounds, whatever that may look like. I have something measurable at that point. It's specific and now it's measurable. You can easily see whether you're taking the right steps towards meeting your goal or whether you're backtracking. And this allows you to make adjustments. You can assess what's going well and maybe what's not going well. But if you don't have it as a measurable goal, you won't know. Data is everything when it comes to growing your business. In every form, data in every form is very meaningful. And without data, you really have no information guiding you in the right direction. So having a goal that's measurable is really important. That's how you'll tell if you're making progress or not. It also, in my opinion, helps to hold you accountable, right? When you have that component in your goal where you can measure your progress, it's going to give you that boost of accountability because you're going to say, hey, I wanted to get to 120 pounds. I'm at 123. I got 3 months left. What's going on? Gives you that extra boost of accountability when it's measurable. The next is attainable. So is your goal realistic? Is it even attainable? One of the most common reasons for goals to go nowhere, especially in a business, is because individuals aim really high. They dream so big, to the point where they don't even fully believe that that goal can come to fruition during the year. Now, I fully believe in dreaming big, having the highest goals possible, but make them realistic. Know that in 1 year, can I get to that point? Or is that more of a 2-year goal? Be very realistic. If a goal already feels unattainable, you're less likely to actually take action towards achieving it. That's like someone saying, I want to lose 50 pounds in 1 month. It's probably not attainable, right? Unless they went through some drastic, measures that might not be the most healthy. That's probably not attainable. So once a week goes by and maybe they've lost 1 pound, they're thinking, I have 40 more pounds to lose in 3 weeks. And they know they're not going to get there. So what happens? They just stop taking action because they know it's not attainable. And when something's not attainable, we tend to put it in the back burner and we don't take much action at all towards it. It makes us kind of ditch it entirely. You'll have day-to-day things that happen all the time, and other goals that are more realistic are going to be what you pay attention to. The big dream goals that aren't attainable in whatever time frame you're setting for, those will fall to the wayside. So make them attainable. Have big dreams, but know that those big dreams might be 2 years out or 3 years out. Don't try to cram it into something that you know is probably not going to happen, because it won't. It won't. Unless you have other things fall to the side in order to make something happen. But that's probably not what you want to do either. The next is relevant. So how relevant is your goal to your business? Is it aligned with your business vision? But more importantly, is it aligned with your life? What I always talk to my clients about is, when you're creating your business vision, don't forget to include your life vision in there. The best part about being a business owner is the fact that you own your time. You own your time freedom. So the second that you start forgetting about how you wanted to create your life, and you just start doing all the business things and thinking you're doing everything right because you're spending a ton of time on your business, you lose that time freedom and you took it away from yourself. So don't forget to always factor in your life and the life that you want to create for yourself. Make your business work around your life, not your life around your business. That's something I have it written on my wall. Make sure your life works around your business, make sure your business works around your life, not your life around your business. You can get those tongue-tied a little bit. So an example of this is, and this actually, I know somebody that this happened to, and she quickly corrected it, which was great, but this is something that can easily happen. And it's a good example of making sure that, you're putting your life goals ahead of your business goals, or having them intertwined in a way that works for you. She really enjoyed having Mondays as kind of like an admin day. No client work, no phone calls, no meetings, a day to take it slow, get all of her stuff done for the week, get herself prepared, do grocery shopping, laundry, all that good stuff. But then she found out about this program, and it was a 6-month program, and it was Mondays for 3 hours in the afternoon every single week. And she was like, well, my business could really use that information. And I feel like I need to do it because I know other people doing it. So she signed up for it. And she hates it because now it's taking away from her time on Mondays that she loved. So that's just an example. Make sure you don't forfeit your life vision and your life goals and how you want to create your lifestyle for your business. There's always a way to work around it. You don't have to cut corners on either. You don't have to. You can always make it work. Now, the last one is time bound. This one ties to measurability a little bit, because it's also another way that helps you track your progress. But when you're thinking about your goals, is there an end date? Do you have an end date of when you want to achieve that goal? If you throw a bunch of goals out there with no end date, what do you think might happen? You might not have any action happening because it's just a goal that you want to achieve at some point and you haven't defined when that end point is. We become so consumed with different things happening in our lives and in our business, day-to-day things popping up, personal things popping up. What happens when you don't have an end date is October of that year comes really quickly. For this year, it came really quickly for me. And then you got a couple months and you're like, oh, darn, I had that goal and I never put an end date on it. And now I haven't even made progress. So again, you want it to be specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time bound. You want to have that end date. And for goals, for 2022 goals, you can have end dates all throughout the year. Some people think, oh, well, all my goals will be finished on December 31st of 2022. No, spread them out. Some goals may take an entire year, and that's fine. But some goals might take 3 months, 6 months, 2 months, whatever that may be. But just make sure you have an end date. Again, it's all about that accountability. You're going to measure your progress because you're going to know that that end date is coming soon, and you'll know whether you're on track or not. And it holds you accountable because at that date, you set a goal for yourself to accomplish something. So those are the SMART goals. They are not new. They've been around forever. I think I heard about them in high school and probably early. I'm sure they've been around for decades, to be honest, but that's because they do work. And every time you are formulating a goal, walk yourself through these. Over time, the more you do it, you don't even think about it. You really won't. It just becomes very natural at that point. But walk your goal through this. Draft whatever you have and then check off. Is it specific? Is it measurable? Is it attainable, relevant, time-bound? So the next segment that I want to do in here is, now that you've got your goals and they look great and they're all SMART goals, what do? And it sounds easy. Okay, I start taking action. That's what I do, Rochelle, of course. But how do you take that action? And that's where I want to help walk you through. How do you reverse engineer these goals and break them down? So I'm going to use a goal of starting a podcast. I want to, and I'm making this up, but I want to start a podcast in 2022. I want to launch it on September 1st. So is it specific? Yep. I'm launching a podcast. Is it measurable? I have a date, so it's measurable and it's time bound, because as the year goes on, I'm going to know, am I getting close to this? Am I on track? Yes or no? Is it attainable? Yeah. I've got, 8 or 9 months to do this. That's attainable. Is it relevant? Sure. It'll help me launch my business and get in front of more people. It's very relevant for my business. So it checks off. I could put some more words in here, but podcast launch date of 9/1, that's the concise version right there. Now, there's a lot that goes into launching a podcast. A lot. You have to have your podcast title. You need a bunch of equipment. You need to have a series of, what are you going to talk about? What themes are you going to have? Are you going to have guest speakers on? Are you going to be doing it all yourself? Who's going to edit your podcast? How often are you going to do them? There's a lot of things to think about. Every goal looks easy because it's just one sentence, but you got to break it down into all the pieces. So what you could do is reverse engineer and work backwards from your goal. So if my goal is for 9/1 to have my podcast launched, that means that I need to have equipment probably a month before that, at least. I would say 2 months. So I'm going to say for 7/1, I got to have my equipment in place. I also need themes. What am I going to talk about? That I want to do early on because I'm going to have scripts available. I'm going to start, getting myself ready. So maybe I will plan to have all my content mapped out between the months of April and July. So April 1st through July 1st, content. And if I want to have some interviews with some guest speakers, some other experts, if I'm launching on September 1st, I probably want to have them lined up by August 15th or August 1st, give them enough time. So you see, I'm working backwards from my date. I'm checking off all the things that I want to do. And now I'm assigning mini dates in here so that when this date comes, I'm not like, oh, shoot, I got all these things to do. I've already done them. And I've given myself an appropriate time frame to do those. So always start from your end date and work yourself back. Now, these are just a few steps that I'll write down, but you can reverse engineer on a quarterly basis. You could do it for 6 months. You could do it on a monthly basis. You could break down monthly goals that all add up to your year goal at the end. So if you have a big goal that's going to be, your deadline is December 31st of 2022, you can break it down so every month is one piece of that goal. And by the time you get to December 31st, you're done. And you paced yourself. That's the important thing. I'm guilty of this myself. You want to get started on something, but things come up. You didn't plan and reverse engineer like this. So all of a sudden you've got a few months left and you know you're behind. And what happens? You get stressed, you start cramming things, you're probably not doing your best work. You might be cutting corners either in this goal or in your life. When that's happened to me in the past, especially with work, I would maybe stay up really late and lose sleep. I wouldn't work out because I felt like I didn't have time. I was rushing. And now I'm cutting corners on some of the things that are important to me just to get all that work done. So you don't want to do that. The end of the year is so busy, and it's a great time of year to be celebrating holidays and be with friends and family. You don't want to be stuck cramming for December 31st with your goals. So reverse engineer them out and break them down. Break them down into very small tasks. I know some people who break them down into weekly goals. So they might have a 6-month goal, and every week they have a step getting them closer to that goal, so that when those 6 months are up, their goal is done. And they broke it down into such small tasks that once a week they spent maybe 30 minutes to an hour. And by the time those 6 months were up, that big project felt really easy to them because they worked on it in pieces. They didn't wait till the month before to knock out this massive project. The nice thing about breaking it down into smaller tasks is, other than not feeling rushed and feeling like you're cramming a bunch of stuff, you also get to take the time to reflect. So you might do something last week, and then after you finish your next little task that following week, you might go back and say, you know what, I want to change that. Now that I've reflected and I've completed the first month of this project, I'm going to go back to week 2 and I'm going to change something quickly. You have the time and the flexibility to do that because you're not waiting till the last minute. Reverse engineering is a really powerful tool in breaking your goals down so you can make small, consistent progress over time. It might seem like it takes a lot of work, but goals do take a lot of work. They're setting you up for the year. They're helping you make meaningful, strategic, intentional progress in your business. So take the time, make sure they're smart, then reverse engineer them. Once you've got your SMART goal, you're going to have it's going to be time bound. You're going to have that date. Now write a list, all the tasks that you need to do to get to this date, whatever it may be. Write down every little thing that you have to do. It could be the smallest of tasks that takes 15 minutes. It could be things that take an hour, but break it down as in small chunks, as little as you can. And then set dates for all those small little chunks. And give yourself the time. Factor in vacation, especially in the summer. We all love to take some vacation in the summer. Understand and know that ahead of time so that you're not trying to do a lot of project work in the summer when you're on vacation. You don't want to stress and think about that. I've been there. I learned the hard way. Don't learn the hard way like me. So the last piece that I want to talk about, I'm going to erase a little bit just so I have room here. Is now that you have SMART goals that you've reverse engineered, how do you track them throughout a year? I can honestly say that in the past, I probably had years where I completely forgot what my goals were by the end of the year. I set them, I wrote them down somewhere in some journal, notebook, calendar, whatever it may have been. And then that was it. They felt good to write down. They gave me momentum at the beginning of the year, but then I didn't track them at all. I completely lost focus on what they were. So how are you able to track them throughout the year? My biggest recommendation is make them part of your standard work. So standard work, if you don't have standard work in your business, I highly recommend developing standard work. And there's a lot of different meanings of what standard work is. I've come from a manufacturing med device company where standard work, you had a process for everything that was written down in tons of detail. What I really mean is, what's your schedule? What does your weekly schedule look like? That's your standard work. So this could mean on a Monday, you take the day of no client work. It's your admin day. You're getting caught up for the week. You're getting yourself organized. Maybe Tuesday afternoons, you take calls. Maybe Wednesday, you are in networking groups all day, or you're out and about in your community. What does your standard work look like? If you don't have it, I would make it. Standard work takes the guesswork out of what you should be doing each day. Instead of waking up on a Wednesday thinking, oh, what should I do today? You already know. Okay, from 9 to 12, I take client calls and I respond to emails. From 12 to 3, I'm going for a hike. Then I come back and my day is done. Thursday, I'll get back on track with my client calls. What do those time blocks look like? What does your week look like? The more you can structure that, and it doesn't have to be rigid, life always happens, and we know that, but just a framework around what each day of the week looks like for you, and when you do your work and when you have your downtime. So once you develop that, if you haven't already, put tracking your goals in your standard work. This doesn't have to be weekly. That might be a little excessive, but you could do it monthly. You could say the first Monday of every month, I'm going to look at my goals. Make sure you have your goals stored somewhere. If you're a notes person, make sure they're in, maybe your calendar, your planner, somewhere that you can easily access them and that you won't forget. And go and look at your goals. Take an assessment of the past month and say, okay, am I making progress? Did I do all those little tasks that I set myself up for the month? Do a monthly audits. It allows you to see when things are off track before it's too late. If you start your goals on January 1st and then you do that audit the first week of February and you say, oh, geez, I'm a little off. You're not 6 months down the road. You're only a month. You can easily get back on track. It's really easy to correct 1 month of maybe not being completely consistent with your actions that you're taking towards your goals. But once you get beyond the 3 to 4 to 5 to 6 months of not really assessing, that's where you might have lost too much time and you might have to completely redo that goal and make it a little bit more attainable for yourself. So just look at them monthly. This should not take more than 30 minutes. Because what you're going to do is you're going to look at those reverse engineered tasks that you set for yourself. And you're going to say, did I do these or did I not? And if I didn't, how do I fit them into this next month so I can get back on track? So that's something you want to do, is try to put them as part of your monthly standard work. You can do them quarterly, but again, quarterly, 3 months, it might be a little long to wait. You might want to check in sooner, at least until you get the hang of it. Again, it's easy to do. You can mark this on your calendar if you want. I have clients that have marked it on their calendar saying, okay, the first of every single month, I have a calendar appointment with myself for 30 minutes. I'm going to assess my goals. I'm going to check in and see how they're doing. That's an easy thing because our calendars, like all other technology, ding all the time and they'll let us know. So that's an easy way to hold yourself accountable to doing this. But you definitely want to be checking in. Because again, remember, goals, this is all data. Data is necessary for business growth. You need to know what's working and what's not working, whether you're on track or off track. It's really important to measure the progress that you're making. The worst feeling as a business owner is a whole year going by and you didn't make the progress you wanted. You didn't even come close because you didn't make SMART goals. You didn't reverse engineer and you didn't follow up on them. You never checked in to see how you were doing. Like I said, I think that happened to me a few years ago. I had all these great goals, and then I forgot where I even put them. So did I meet any of them? I don't even know. Maybe I just wouldn't know. So how helpful is that? Not really that helpful. And when it comes to your business, you know, those are personal goals because I didn't have my business at the time. But when it comes to your business, if you know where you want to be a year from now, make sure you make that progress. Take that action towards getting there and do it by using these 3 steps. All right, are there any questions? Any questions at all? If not, then thank you so much. And let me know if you do have questions. Post in the Facebook group. Feel free to DM me at any time. This is important. So I want to be able to help you if you do have any questions. So do not hesitate to reach out.